welcome. We are going to be doing some fall baking today. I am Marie Walker, the Director of Education here at the Northeast Georgia History Center, and later I will be joined with our Museum Services Manager, Lesley Jones, who will also be showing you some other different types of fall baking. So I will be making a type of cornmeal porridge today. Quite the interesting recipe. I got it from a recipe that was recorded on Plymouth Plantation, which was recorded in the 1600s after the Pilgrims came to America. And it was one of the foods that they had eaten there at Plymouth. All right, so we only have 4 ingredients for this recipe, which makes it very simple. It's very easy to do. They're very common ingredients. We know that in the early colonial settlers, they did not have a lot of food. There was a period, I believe, in Jamestown, which they referred to as the starving time, because they were boiling shoe leather to eat and perhaps practice cannibalism. So this is a recipe that does not involve shoe leather. It involves water, it involves sugar, it involves corn grits or corn flour, and milk. And we're going to mix it all together in a pot, and that will be our recipe. So very, very simple. We throw it all in a pot, and then we put it over the fire. It's kind of like a mush, a meal, if you will. I have water. This is 4 cups of water, which I'm just going to put into my Dutch oven. So then I have this cup of milk here that I'm going to add. All right, and then this is 2 cups of the ground corn and a 1/4 cup of sugar. These are all ingredients that would have been found in colonial America that the settlers would have had access to. So I'm going to stir this around a little bit now. It's a very watery substance, kind of like water with corn and some milk. So I've stirred that up a little bit, making sure the corn is distributed nicely throughout. All right, now I'm going to put the lid on top. I'm going to stick this over the fire. So I'm not sure if you can tell, but it is slightly misting here at the Northeast Georgia History Center today, which means it's very hard to get a fire started. Libin and I have been out here for about the past 30 minutes as I have attempted and used all of my tricks to try to get this fire lighted, and it just hasn't exactly done that yet. I'll try a little bit more, but we might just have to microwave this and then show you the results of that. So if it is indeed raining, you could cook inside. It's very hard, as we probably have experienced if we were to go cook in the cabin, if we could do that. Everything's just damp. And a cabin, while it protects you from the actual rain, the dampness still gets in there, and therefore it's also still harder to light a fire, even if you do have your wood under cover. Because same thing with morning dew, if you have like a heavy dew and you go and get sticks, it just doesn't work if the wood's wet. So if you had your wood in a nice, safe, dry place and you try to cook inside, you have a far better chance of getting a fire started, but it's not absolutely guaranteed. Right now I'm thinking personally of the shelters that they had in Jamestown and in Plymouth, and those were barely, at the beginning they were barely houses. They were really just kind of attempts to keep you out of the elements. But you also don't want to burn down your house. So you have to weigh your options that's why a lot of people decided to cook outside, that and because of the heat. It's a rather cool day. I think, you would probably want to have a fire inside for warmth, and then you could use it also for cooking if you were indeed a pilgrim in Plymouth. So if we were indeed to have a real fire, this is not going to take long to bake at all. As you saw, it was just the bottom layer of this Dutch oven that was full with our mixture. And we're not trying to cook anything. We're really just trying to heat it and kind of make it gel a little bit more because it was really runny. So we want it to be more of like a porridge consistency. That is not going to take long if you were to have a large roaring fire, 10-15 minutes tops. There are accounts where women were able to just like hold their hands over the fire and they were like, well, it's that hot, so I know how long it's going to take to bake things. So this kind of will taste like a corny oatmeal. So it's going to be also sweeter since we put the sugar in. Could be made without the sugar if you did not have sugar. Could be made without milk if you didn't have milk. It could just be corn water. We made some corn grits. So basically I ladled out what we had in the Dutch oven and put it in the microwave, and this is what we got. So you can see it's corn grits with some sugar. They would have referred to this as Samp. Thanks for joining us. Bye.
Hello, everyone. My name is Lesley Jones, and I am the Archives and Museum Services Manager at the History Center. I am also an avid baker, so when I was asked to make a historical bake, I jumped at the chance to help. Today, I'm making Old Salem pumpkin muffins. Muffins became a popular recipe in the late 17th and early 18th century. While there is no specific origin for the word muffin, it is said that it might be related to the German word Muff, meaning small cake. Quick bread muffins, like the ones we know today, were made in America starting in the 19th century. Traditionally, the recipe we are making today would have been made in a small loaf pan and served as individual cakes. But for demonstration purposes and an easier bake, we are going to use the muffin tin. So, let's get started. First, let's start with our ingredients. For dry ingredients, we have 1 2/3 cup of self-rising flour. All-purpose will work just fine, but will make the muffin a little bit more dense. 1 1/2 cup of granulated white sugar, 1/4 of a teaspoon of baking powder, 1 teaspoon of baking soda, 1/4 of a teaspoon of salt, 1 teaspoon of pumpkin pie spice. You can find this premixed in the grocery store, or you can make your own. The spices in pumpkin spice are cinnamon, ginger, nutmeg, allspice, and cloves. You also need 1/8 of a teaspoon of ground cloves. Be very, very careful with cloves. Too much will overpower the muffin and it will be all you taste. So little goes a long way. 1/3 of a cup of golden raisins. Dark raisins will work just fine, but golden raisins retain more moisture, so it will help soften the muffin. For wet ingredients, we have 1/3 of a cup of room temperature unsalted butter. Salted is fine, but just omit the teaspoon of salt if you do use salted. 1 cup of canned pumpkin, 1/3 of a cup of room temperature water, and 2 eggs. So for baking, you need a muffin tin, 2 mixing bowls, stand or hand mixer, or if you want to be traditional and historical, I would just use a wooden spoon, measuring cups and spoons, a sifter, a whisk, cooking spray, or butter. So let's get to it. So first you want to preheat the oven to 375 degrees. If you do use a light tin, I would do it at 350 instead. Grease your tin with cooking spray or use the butter. Sift the flour by itself. So why do we sift? It will get out any of the large clumps. If you don't sift, you could take a bite of a muffin. It tastes nothing but a clump of flour. It's gross. I just recommend sifting anytime you bake. Next, we want to sift together all our dry ingredients except the raisins. Personally, I like to sift twice to get a perfect mixture of everything together. Take the golden raisins and toss them into the dry mixture. This is so the raisins don't sink to the bottom of the muffin tin when baking. Set the bowl of dry ingredients aside. Take your other mixing bowl and add your butter and sugar. If you have a mixer, this is when you get it out. You want to put it on a low setting and cream the butter and sugar together. But if you want to be the historically accurate, you want to get that spoon out, it's going to be a lot more work, but you're going to press the butter and sugar down with the back of the spoon, stirring occasionally until they mix together. Whisk the eggs and mix them in the bowl of butter and sugar. This is the fun part, well, maybe to me. We're going to mix all the wet and dry ingredients together. Add dry first, stir until combined, then add the pumpkin and water. Keep alternating until fully incorporated. But I cannot stress this enough, do not over stir. We just want the flour to blend in. If you overmix the muffins, you will come out very dense and very dry. Fill the tins halfway full. I use a cookie scoop to make sure they all come out evenly. Bake 10 to 12 minutes for mini muffins or 15 to 16 minutes for large muffins. Place on a cooling rack for 5 minutes before serving. Here we have it, the Old Salem pumpkin muffins. I wish you could smell these, they're amazing. I hope you guys enjoy. If you do make them, please comment and share your photo. We'd love to see them. Thanks!